Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video for Tuesday, June 10th, if you're joining me for the very first time. First of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going over my core picks. It's going to be 5 players in total, 1 pitcher, 4 hitters. That's going to be based on a combination of past performance versus their respective opponent, as well as some recent history. And then after that, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for Tuesday's slate overall. It's going to be a larger slate, so definitely feel free to mix and match as you do see fit. And then as always, I'll be listing my early morning weather report down in the comments section. They'll have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher. And then I will also be posting as many of these starting lineups as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. So definitely be sure to check up on that, especially as we do get closer to lock. But without further ado, we're going to get right into those core picks. We're going to start off at that pitcher position with Max Fried. He is the most expensive pitcher on the slate, and for very good reason. He is $10,600, averaging just over 39 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the Kansas City Royals. He's got some pretty decent history versus them in the past. Had one start versus them earlier this season where he had 45 points. One start versus them in 2024 where he had 63 points. So definitely do like his upside in this matchup once again. If we take a look at what he's done so far in the season, he's got 8 wins. ERA is at 1.78 and once again averaging just over 39 fantasy points per game at $10,600. Definitely looks like a very excellent play once again. Then we're going to move down to our hitters. We're going to start off with Nolan Gorman of the St. Louis Cardinals. He is going against the Toronto Blue Jays. It is going to be Chris Bassett on the mound. Nolan Gorman, you can also play at third base, but in this case, he's going to be at second base for us. He is 2 for 2 with 2 home runs versus Chris Bassett in his career. So a very, very small sample size, but a very good sample size at that. If we look at what he's done as of late, he has at least 1 hit in his last 5 games that he has started. So he doesn't play a lot. He typically only plays against right-handed pitching. But in those 5 games, he has at least 1 hit in all 5 of them. 3 multi-hit games, 1 home run. Only 1 double-digit performance, though, so that is kind of like the one downside there, but he does have 4 games of 9 fantasy points or higher, so definitely do like that floor out of him at $2,600 and some potential power upside at the same time as well. If we look at what he's done so far in the season, 210 batting average, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs, once again averaging just over 6 fantasy points per game at $2,600. Then we're going to move down to third base with Austin Riley, $3,400, averaging just over 10 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the Milwaukee Brewers. Quinn Priester is the expected starting pitcher for that Brewers team, and he's 2 for 3 versus Quinn Priester in his career. 5-game hitting streak as we do speak for Austin Riley. During that time span, he has 4 multi-hit games, 1 home run, 3 double-digit performances, and 4 games of at least 9 fantasy points or higher. So definitely do like what he's done as of late. Offers a relatively safe floor with some upside at the same time as well. If we look at what he's done so far on the season, 285 average, 11 home runs, 35 RBIs. Once again, averaging over 10 fantasy points per game at $3,400. Then we're going to move down to our 2 outfielders for the core picks for today. We're going to go right back to George Springer at $3,200, averaging about 10.5 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the St. Louis Cardinals as Miles Mikolas on the mound. He is 5 for 9 with 1 home run versus Miles Mikolas in his career. He is on a modest 5-game hitting streak as we do speak. 9 out of his last 11 games, he has at least 1 hit in. 2 multi-hit games during that time span, 5 home runs, 5 double-digit performances, and 9 games of 9 fantasy points or higher. And with that being said, I am still recording this as that St. Louis and Toronto game is going on, so there is a chance that he spills over into double-digit points, but at the very least, he has 9.5 fantasy points, so definitely do like that upside out of George Springer once again. And if we look at what he's done so far on the season in totality, 251 batting average, 10 home runs, 28 RBIs, averaging over 10.5 fantasy points per game at $3,200. Definitely do like him as a good value overall once again. And then we're going to move down to our final hitter of the night. We're going to go to Lawrence Butler of the Athletics. He is going against the Los Angeles Angels. He is $3,600, averaging just over 11.5 fantasy points per game on the season. And that expected starting pitcher for that Los Angeles Angels team is going to be Jose Siriano, who he is 3 for 8 with 1 home run versus. Currently, Butler is on a 7-game hitting streak that does not include Monday night's game, as I am recording that as that game is still going on. He has 5 multi-hit games during that time span, 1 home run, 5 double-digit performances, and 6 games of 9 fantasy points or higher. So definitely do like the upside and the floor of Lawrence Butler overall. Like the matchup versus Jose Siriano. If we look at what he's done so far on the season, 273 batting average, 9 home runs, 29 RBIs. once again averaging over 11.5 fantasy points per game at $3,600. But with that being said, if you go with the 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you'll have $11,600 remaining, $2,900 remaining per player. So obviously we got 4 hitters from 4 different teams. Obviously stacks will play a pretty big role, especially on a larger slate. So definitely feel free to mix and match as you do see fit. But these are 4 hitters that I did really want to highlight for Tuesday's slate overall. But with that being said, we'll give it over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for Tuesday's slate overall. So we are going to start off with the San Francisco Giants. They are going against the Colorado Rockies. Carson Palmquist is the expected starting pitcher for them. He struggled to start off his young career. He has not faced the Giants in the past. This game's at Coors Field, though, so it should be a very attractive matchup for that Giants team just in general. Then we move over to Texas Rangers. They're going against Simeon Woods Richardson. Not a long list history there, but in that small sample size, they have hit him really well in the past. And then we have the San Diego Padres. They're going against either Jose Urena or Bobby Miller on the mound for the Dodgers. Either way, the matchup looks really good for the Padres team. If it's Jose Urena, it's probably going to look a little bit better since he has faced them more in the past and they have better history versus him. Bobby Miller, he hasn't been quite the same pitcher as he was once as a rookie, and there is a very small sample size for this Padres team against him just in general. And then last but not least, we have the Tampa Bay Rays going against Lucas Giolito, who has struggled so far this season. Obviously, he's coming back from injury. There's been like one good start in there, but the rest of it has not been pretty. So definitely do like the upside of this Rays lineup just in general. But with that being said, that's what I do have in terms of my core picks as well as top GPP teams to stack for Tuesday, June 10th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then once again, in the morning, I'll be listing my early morning weather report. They'll have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher. And then I will be listing as many of these starting lineups as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. So definitely be sure that you are checking up down in that comment section, especially as we do get closer to lock, so that you do have the most up-to-date and relevant information. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now we have MLB DFS in terms of the core pick videos, typically Monday through Friday. And then I also have my CFL DFS video dropping once a week. That will be typically coming out on Wednesday, so definitely on the lookout for that if that's something you're into as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Parlay Play, and Prize Picks. If you are a brand new user on any one of those 3 sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's a 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's a 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS for Tuesday, June 10th.